Alright guys, welcome back. It has been a long time in between videos and a lot has changed. So, as you can tell probably by the title, I made a decision to go into carnivore mode and lose some weight. Topped out at pretty much the heaviest I've ever been and decided to take some drastic actions. Now, why did I go carnivore? Did some reviews, searching around, listen to Joe Rogan talk about it, and plus I really like eating meat, so I thought I'd give it a go. Now, about 2.5 years ago, I did a regular keto diet and lost a bunch of weight, around 7 kilos, pretty easily. So decided to give it another go, this time by just eating meat, eggs and cheese. Now, I'm pretty lucky. I really enjoy eating meat, no problems at all. So that's what I decided to do. So got myself organised. Obviously work a office job, so I'm stuck in the office a couple of days a week, stuck at home a couple of days a week, and the options for snacking are heavy. So pretty much move straight into steak for lunch and dinner, eggs for breakfast with a handful of cheese in an omelette or just some fried eggs, so to speak. And that was my diet pretty much for the first 30 days non-stop. Now, I've got some stats here on what I lost and things that I ran into and whatnot, so I'll sort of run through it. Now, I measured myself before I started. Measured arms, legs, waist, stomach and chest. And in the first month, funnily enough, and you can't, they say you can't choose where you lose weight from. I think that's definitely the case. So inside the first month, I lost an inch off my arms and I lost an inch off my legs. And I've got pretty skinny arms and legs to start with, so it was a bit of a shock. I basically lost nothing off my waist, stomach or chest, like between 1/4 of an inch and maybe 1/2 an inch off each of those measurements. So yeah, that was the first month. Now, issues. First month, my kids were sick the first sort of week I got into the diet, and I got a cold. Now, they talk about the keto carnivore flu. I don't know if the kids being sick was what I picked up on or if it was part and parcel, but I had a bit of a cold for about a week. That was it. It wasn't bedridden, nothing out of the ordinary. So that first month, I lost, looking at my stats here, 4 kilos. So it was pretty much 1 kilo a week in that first month, and that was with no extra exercise, nothing extra to what I was already doing. So my exercise regime, if you could say that, was I was doing push-ups sort of nearly every night, and maybe going for a jog 2 days a week if I was very lucky, maybe 3, but definitely wasn't regular, and it was only 4 or 5 Ks. So they were the nights that basically I worked from home and did no steps at all during the day. Now, back to the eating side of things, I was just made sure I was really prepared to go to work and take my lunch. So I was just cooking steaks and then reheating them. Some people might screw their nose up at that, but I'd cook it a little bit extra rarer than I normally would and reheat it. And I didn't really have a problem. I then decided to mix it up a little bit in the next month, and I started having some pork and a little bit of lamb. And basically, I found that I sort of, not stagnated, but I didn't lose as much, which probably was just off the back of losing a lot of weight quickly. And I started to lose around that 600-700 grams a week for the next few next few weeks after that. So pretty much, I started the diet at the start of July. So into August, at the start of August, I was around 91 kilos. I'd started at 98 and a bit. So significantly down, which was really good. Felt great. Didn't have any issues of tiredness. I'd still have a coffee or two in the morning like I always did. And then I would just drink sort of Coke in the afternoon, maybe a coffee, but nothing. That was what I was doing beforehand. And I guess the biggest thing I found with eating all of the meat was, and I guess if you watch a lot of these videos, was I didn't have the need to snack, which was amazing. So beforehand, I'd be always back and forth to the cupboard looking at what I could, nibble on, and especially in the office as well, where I had options for lots of biscuits and lollies. But eating the meat and having a big breakfast, I basically stopped all snacking. I wasn't even really tempted by the food, to be honest, and preparing kids' meals and snacks and stuff, they'd have brownie or a scone or, some wafers or whatever that they had for morning tea when we were packing their food. I lost all the need for snacking, and I cut out alcohol as well. I think in the period of the 90 days that I did the keto for, I might have had 6 or 7 drinks, and they were all basically no carb beer. So I tried some of those better beers, and they seemed to be okay, and I continued to lose weight, so I didn't just stop or come out of keto when I had those ones. So yeah, like I said, it definitely wasn't a lot of alcohol. So moving into August, in the next 3 weeks, so from the 1st of August through to the 15th, I lost another, what have we got then, about 2.3 kilos. And pretty much from there, I stopped losing any size in my arms and my legs. They stayed the same, and then I started to lose it from my face, waist, stomach, and chest pretty consistently. And by the end of August, and then moving into September, I got down to the 88 kilos, which put me at the 10 kilo mark of from where I started. And basically the last few weeks, so we're into, what's the date today? Today's the 8th of September. My weight has stabilized, and I've come out of carnivore. So I've been snacking. I've had a few travel work trips, and it was quite hard. So I've decided to come off the diet for a couple of weeks, just see how I go. And I'll tell you what, coming off the diet, it has been weird. So Father's Day come around, had some chocolates that were given to me, had a little bit of takeaway, some fish and chips. Even though I've only been eating steak, like I said, a little bit of pork, eggs, cheese, having some, what I used to love eating, fried chips, fried foods and so on, it has tasted ridiculously plain. I can't describe it any other way. Just everything has tasted really plain, generic food. So it's, I don't know if my taste buds have completely altered since going on to this pretty much all meat diet. I've had no fruit, no other vegetables at all in the 90 days. I went and got a blood test. Everything was tip top. Cholesterol was where I needed to be. There was no deficiencies. So, could I live on the carnivore diet full time? No, I don't think I'd want to. Those 90 days, I needed a break. I felt cravings coming on of just wanting to try other food, trying regular food, especially as someone who really, really loved to eat. I think I needed this for my own sanity, to have a break for a week or two and still eat some meat, but and not as much. Obviously, a lot of portion control, and just see how I go, if I'm stabilized with my weight or if I start to creep back up. So a couple of other things that I noticed when I was on the diet. Obviously, the nights that I was running, did I notice any performance drop off or tiredness because I had no carbs in my body? I wasn't running far enough. I could go out and run my 5 or 6 Ks with no issues. Some nights I was tired, but I think that was just from being tired, not from not having enough food. Anything longer at this stage, I never went out and ran anything longer than 6.5 Ks. So can't say 10 or 15 if I really fell off a cliff from an energy point of view. Working around at home, getting firewood and stuff like that, I never noticed anything more being tired or just running out of energy. So I think you probably still can do a lot of high intensity exercise throughout the day and not run out or hit a wall. The other thing I did do is I didn't measure anything from a calorie consumption, fat content, nothing. I just had 2 or 3 eggs a day for breakfast, depending on how hungry I felt in the morning, with a handful of cheese thrown in to make an omelette. For lunch, it would be a steak around 150 to 250 grams at a guess, and then for dinner would be a bigger one, anywhere from 300 to 400 grams of steak. no idea, to be honest, I've absolutely no idea what calorie content that I would have been consuming with that, but I continued to lose weight. And when I started to plateau off a little bit, I did try and cut down my morning, like my lunch meal, just because I thought maybe I was overeating. I wasn't doing enough exercise. Like an average step count day for me would be 5,000 steps. Nowhere near enough the 10,000. Some days I'd get over that. On weekends I would, but during the week, unless I went for a run, it'd be hard to get over that. So the nights I didn't go for a run, I'd try and do like a light kettlebell workout or push-ups for an hour or something along those lines, just to try and keep the body burning some calories. But I definitely didn't measure anything. I wasn't weighing anything out, and I continued to lose weight easily, which was the best part. So for anyone that's thinking about it and or being able to eat just meat and getting worried that you're going to be able to struggle, I think if you're prepared, you can do it. Now, from a cost perspective, people go, oh, you're eating steak all the time, must be super expensive. It's probably cheaper than me going and eating takeaway 2 days a week at work and spending $20 for lunch, and then getting takeaway for dinner, the odd occasions. I'm sure if the family still got takeaway, I would cook my steak or whatever else I was, whatever other meat I was eating for tea. And, I think the average meal would work out to be $5 or $6, maybe $7 for the steak that I was eating. If you had $15 a day for your food, I think that'd be pretty close. Now, in regards to the steak that I was eating, I ate 2 or 3 different types of steak. I ate porterhouse, I ate some Scotch fillet, but not a lot. And then I found a casserole steak at Coles, which was like a Scotch fillet on steroids. It had a lot of fat running through it. They were very large, very thick. So I could cut them up and get basically 2 meals out of one full-size steak. And that was about $18 a kilo. So compared to paying $40 for, porterhouse or whatever other meat type that you wanted to get. Pork, obviously a fair bit cheaper than beef. And lamb, like I said, I only had lamb for about 2 weeks. Didn't feel I was getting the gains out of that, so quit the lamb. Also didn't like, people say you eat a lot of beef, you start to smell different, taste different. You could definitely notice that on the lamb versus beef or pork, where I noticed really no change, but lamb was definitely a noticeable physical smell coming out of the body at different times of the day. So that's been pretty much it. Now, tonight is the night. This is the most chocolate. Obviously, I haven't eaten all of this. I've shared the kids and the wife have been stuck into it. But tasting Cadbury's chocolate, which I could smash, it tastes different now compared to just eating steak with salt, pepper, and some chili and spices on it. But it is really, really strange how your taste buds adapt, change, move. Compared to beforehand. Honestly, I can't describe it. So if you're thinking about getting on the diet, even if it is only for 2 months, if you can stretch it out for 3 or longer, awesome. But for me, I needed a break to be able to just reset and go, yep, you've done a really good job. Let's see how you go. See if you can maintain it around portion sizes. All right, so in summing up, I lost in 90 days, pretty much on the button, 10 kilos. I lost 1 inch off my arms, 1 inch off my legs. Waist started off at, what do we got here? 40 and a half, got down to 38. Stomach, 43 and a bit, down to around 40, so 3 inches off that. Chest, 46 and a half, down to 42. And quads or legs, whatever you want to call that, 22 and a half down to 21. So about 1 inch and a bit off them. So that's it from a carnivore journey. It's broken me because now I've tasted normal food and it tastes like nothing. So I'm not sure which way I'm going to go. But hey, if that's the way it's got to be, and if I can go back to a regular diet and slowly adjust again. Eating some chocolate did knock me around a little bit on the weekend. We'll see how we go with a little bit more chocolate here, but Thanks again for watching. I hope it's been inspiring, and I hope you've actually learned something from just the average Joe having a go at a diet without any training, any real methodology or science behind it, and just eating and seeing how you end up. But thanks again for watching Aussie Dad Life, and I'll catch you on the next video. Cheers.